you talking about with Divya Bharati?
Yeah, you just about.
You introduced her in the film Vishwatman. Can you just tell us something about her?
When I first introduced her, I introduced Divya Bharti. At that stage, she had taken on an assignment in the South, which was a training ground for her, which really helped me to make up my mind that I wouldn't have to train the girl. But as far as the Hindi cinema was concerned, she had tried with a couple of producers and directors, and for some odd reason, it hadn't worked out. When she came to me first, I liked her. She was very young and immature at that stage, but seemed to have a lot of potential. And I still had time to think, so I told her I'll meet her after 3 or 4 months, that she should also sort of make up her mind as to her seriousness, whether she would really like to work. And when she came back to me, she was dead sure, very serious, seemed like a very nice girl, etc., etc. And I took out pictures of hers, which were stunning. And I decided this was the girl, and I was casting her. I had 3 heroes, and I was casting her opposite Sunny Deol. And I wanted a young girl and a bright girl who could also fit into songs and could also dance and do the scenes properly. At that stage, I found she was very, very free with dancing, but a little shy where scenes were concerned, and still had to go a little way where acting was concerned. But did extremely well as her first film. After I shot with her, after a few months, she was shooting a lot of other films because I didn't put her in a contract, and I let her sign films to her choice. And soon after my film came out, a lot of other films came out where you can see a lot of improvement in her performances, because in that span of time, she gained confidence. And well, all I can say is at the stage when I introduced her, and the industry at that stage wasn't touching her, and soon after I took her, a lot of people got confidence in taking her. But at that stage, I was very, very sure she was going to make it. I was nearly 100% sure that she was going to be a star, and had everything that a heroine desired.
Do you remember any scene from the film where you think she did well?
Well, we did a song called Saath Samundar Paar, which was she had rehearsed it a couple of times in Bombay, and we did it in an actual authentic discotheque in Kenya, Nairobi, and it had a very slippery floor because it wasn't a set where you can make things according to your requirements. It had a steel kind of a floor, which we had dry ice and things, so you get water and it gets very difficult to dance. And I thought, my God, she isn't going to come up to the level of expectation that I had in my mind, knowing the drawback with the set, which I didn't tell her. But once she started going with the song, she actually did much better than what I expected. And that song was a very big hit. And she did that song in all her shows abroad, and it was one of her best songs where a dance was concerned, and something that she could perform on the stage. And she did an extremely good job.
Of late, the developments involving film stars and film, it seems that life here is imitating what is there on the screen, on the cinema.
Well, it's ironical, all I can say, and things like this normally don't happen, but when they happen, one starts to wonder the resemblance between the real life and the real life. It's sad when instances like this come up, and one doesn't hope things like this happen. And with Divya Bharti, it's very sad because she was a young girl, 19, full of life, very nice person. Success never went to her head. I can only speak good words about her. I was very fond of her as an actress. I was not very close to her, but whatever I knew of her, she would have done very well. I really can't understand what really happened and why it happened. All I can say is it must have been an act of God. Nothing else makes sense to me.
Is it all this developments, are these because of the intense pressure that are there because you are a star, or because you have that kind of lifestyle and you can't cope up with it, or you have to live up to something which
There have been cases with Guru Dutt, Meena Kumari, after they had a full career which was behind them. With this girl, she hadn't had a big span of a career where she could have been in this much pressure as people are making out to be. And at 19, you don't have tendency to be so serious about things and take pressure on. I mean, as you get older, the pressure seems to mount, and one becomes more serious with life. But when you're young, I don't think the attitude is of a young person is such where she would actually come under so much pressure. You have a tendency to shun away pressure and sort of laugh away at things and life and enjoy yourself, and which is what she was doing.
And do you think there are a lot of pressures of being a star, and in the sense you have to adopt a certain kind of lifestyle?
You have
and
to.
I'm not exactly talking about Divya Bharti here, and then you have to live up to it, and then probably sometimes you're not that rational, perhaps.
That is very true, because when you're in the public eye and you're adored by millions of people, you have to live for them also. I mean, you have to compromise on your personal life and your personal wants and likes or whatever, and you have to live up to the expectation of the public. You know that, and actor and actress always knows and is very careful that every step you take is going to be written about, whether in the gossip magazines or in a normal newspaper. So one is very wary and careful as to what one is doing when you are in the limelight, and it is your responsibility. You have to be very careful, and you can't afford to make mistakes. You can't afford ignorance. You can't afford to be ignorant about facts. And
would you say that the case of about Sanjay Dutt is also a similar kind of case in which he got
about
perhaps
Sanjay Dutt,
allegations?
I'm not very sure. He's a very nice person. He's not the kind of person you would expect to come into a situation which he's in now, which, mind you, when we are talking today, tomorrow things might change and he might emerge as a hero. In the law of court, he might be proven not guilty for whatever accusations they're putting him on.
Yeah.
And one doesn't expect this out of him, and I think the whole industry has faith in him that he wouldn't do something that is really wrong. He's probably gone and done something out of foolishness or out of it's a very childlike kind of a behavior. It's a child wants a toy and he wants to get it, and he finds himself in trouble. That is what the industry at the moment is thinking and hoping, and everybody who knows him closely, I don't know him so closely, have put their faith in him.
Considering now, this is my last question. Considering the situation after riots, considering the death of Divya Bharati, considering the allegations against Sanjay Dutt, and considering the big films have probably not done as well as they should have done, and with these two stars in Divya Bharati Dutt and Sanjay, so many films have been stalled. Do you think there's a certain amount of apprehension, panic perhaps in the industry?
There is panic. I believe it's temporary till the sort of the wind that's blowing passes away. It's definitely there now because all happened all of a sudden. Where Divya Bharati is concerned, it was a tragic accident, and where Sanjay's case is concerned, one isn't really sure. We all know he's basically an actor who was riding high, doing very well with his career, and was concentrating and was really getting to the top. And it's very hard to believe what is all written about him, knowing his father's good reputation, and there's so much politics involved that the industry is just standing by and just looking at the incidents flowing by, and we just sort of people who are standing by the road and watching something that's happening going by, and there's no control in your hands. So when you have no control over a situation, one does get scared, and there is a panic. There is a tension that's mounted with all the papers writing. A lot of producers are involved, and I think the film industry as a whole is involved, and there are many people whose reputation are at stake, and we all know that they will get out of it safely.